This is HLN Now, on the case with former prosecutor Vinnie Politan.
Police officers often have to make quick decisions, and these decisions are not easy ones. And sometimes these decisions are the difference between life and death. Then, after these split decisions are made and someone loses their life, supervisors, lawyers, judges, and sometimes juries take days, months, and years to analyze and judge these decisions. And that's why the job of law enforcement is tough. But it has to be, because the decisions made on the job are life and death decisions. Right now, you're going to see one that resulted in death. And I have to warn you, some of you may find this video disturbing.
Police dash cam doesn't capture the impact itself, just the flying debris as a full-speed wrong-way driver smashes head-on with the car driven by Jared Ford, his female passenger in tow. Ford died along with the wrong-way driver, 29-year-old Jeremy Smeltzer. Ford likely had no idea what was headed his way, but the concern from his family is about this responding Michigan State police officer, who they suspect did know what was coming since he was responding to the call. Watch as the officer pulls onto the highway, lights and sirens. A car in front of him pulls over and stops on the right. The officer drives by. Family members say that's Ford's car that had stopped there. Ford then continues onto the highway after the officer passed. The wrong-way driver is approaching now. Watch to the left. As the officer pulls onto the shoulder, Ford moves to the far lane, and he is hit head-on. Their concerns enhanced by another officer's actions as he returned to a vehicle after a traffic stop and warned the driver not to get back on the road just yet.
Just stay here for a second. There's a car coming the wrong way on the highway, so just stay here, okay?
Perhaps things would have been different, they say, had Ford gotten a similar warning, or perhaps that ramp had been shut down, as he too was clearly headed into harm's way.
All right. So to understand this story, you have to understand exactly what happened here and what the concerns are of the family. The concerns of the family is that the officer did not warn their son that there was a vehicle coming the wrong way down the one-way. And here you can see the video. And the concern is that the police officer had actually passed their son in his vehicle and then pulled to the shoulder, and then their son continued on the ride. The son had no idea there was a vehicle going the wrong way, but police did. Let me bring in my guests, Tanya Miller, criminal defense attorney, defense attorney Darren Kavanoki also joining us remotely. There he is. And Mike Brooks, HLN law enforcement analyst with us as well. Thanks so much for being here. Yeah. Let me show everyone what we're talking about here, because these are the two intersections that are important. These are 6 miles apart. This is where the wrong-way driver enters, and he ends up going the wrong way this way. This is where the police officer and the right-way driver who was killed were. So let's take a closer look at that area if we can zoom in on that. Want to zoom in on that? There we go. Okay. Now, this is what's important, and Mike, feel free to chime in here.
Sure.
So what's happening is you've got this ramp right here. So you've got the police officer coming down the ramp to get onto the road where the driver's going the wrong way. As he pulls on, the right-way driver pulls to the side, the officer passes him, Mike, and then the officer pulls to the shoulder here. The guy who pulled over then just continues on his way. So here's the question the family has. Why? Why would you not warn the driver at the ramp about what was happening or block off this rampway?
Well, maybe the
split-second decision.
It is. Maybe the trooper didn't know exactly where that driver was on this particular road. I want to listen. I'd like to hear what the radio transmissions of exactly what he was hearing. Secondly, was this trooper going to try to, if he was going to get on the road, was he going to try to get ahead of him and maybe deploy stop sticks? Was he going to try to maybe use a pit maneuver to try to stop this guy? These are things that we don't know. But yeah, I know hindsight's always 20/20, and everybody wants to blame somebody when one of their loved ones is killed. But, could he have warned him? Maybe. You see the other trooper, he had a traffic stop. He already had the guy pulled over when the chase started. That's why he was finishing giving the guy the ticket and telling him, just stay here right now because there's a chase going on. This other trooper, He didn't have that guy pulled over. He was trying to get to the chase.
Trying to get to it. But now here's the question that a lot of folks are going to have about that, Mike, as we look even closer here at this intersection is the troopers pulled over to the side, right? So as the trooper pulls himself over onto the shoulder, he is out of harm's way. But anyone can now pull onto this road and will have no idea what's coming in the other direction while he does. So, Tanya, as we think about that, you know, to what standard do we hold officers in these split-second decisions that are life and death, whether you've got a gun or whether you're in pursuit?
Right. So essentially, I mean, Mike is right, and I do sympathize with the officer in this case, but I have to tell you, he's going to have a tough time explaining why he did not do something to alert that driver who he saw going in the same direction that he was going in. He knew himself that he needed to pull over. He didn't himself pull into oncoming traffic, but he saw this car coming behind him. He could have done anything. He could have turned the lights on. He could have blocked it. So I think that's going to be tough to explain. I really do.
Okay.